Hi, welcome back to West Coast Media Solutions. This is your lovely host, Nika, coming back at you guys with another quick little video. I wanted to share with you guys something that I had an epiphany about a couple of days ago. And I don't know why I never looked at it this way before, but at any rate, I realized that I have been doing online marketing for over 20 years. Can you believe that? So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I was able to make anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a month using online marketing before it was even mainstream, if you can picture that. So in order to tell you guys about this, I got to kind of take you down memory lane. And back during the late 1990s, early 2000s, actually around 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. I was making anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a month from an online marketing strategy that most businesses in my industry, at any rate, in general, wasn't really doing online marketing like we know of online marketing today. It was still a fairly new concept. And you didn't have all of the social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube and, things of that nature back then. But the best part about it is that you can use the same exact strategy today to start making money online or offline or a combination of the two without the need to quit your 9 to 5 if you have one. And you don't need a large audience either for this strategy to be successful for you. So if you're feeling stuck in your 9 to 5 or you're struggling to grow an additional income source, then this video is definitely for you. And so stay to the end because I'm going to be breaking it down step by step how you can start to apply these same principles or strategies today. All right, so let's get started, folks. So I know I mentioned in the beginning, it was around 2002, 2003, but I really got to kind of take you back all the way to 1999. Yes, 1999. And when, I first really started utilizing this strategy. At the time, I was working for a savings and loan company in the Bay Area. And because I'm a native of California, Northern California, as a lot of you may know. And so I was working for a savings and loan company, like I said, and they had created this new little department called the Internet Loan Origination Department. And so like I was saying, I had to take a little quick pause there to get me a drink of my flavored water. My throat was starting to feel a little parched. So anyways, like I said, this was back in 1999 when I had started working for this savings and loan company or bank. And we have branches all over the United States, by the way. And they had just started a new department. It was called the Internet Origination Loan Department. And it was sort of a little experiment, because the founders of that particular savings and loan, they were extremely old school. They were from I think it's called the Great Generation or something like that. It's before the baby boomers. So it's the generation before the baby boomers. And they were part of that generation. And, back in the late 90s, they were already in their late 70s, I believe. So they firmly believed in, living below your means, paying cash for things. Your word is your bond. You make a handshake deal. They expected for you to, stick to it. And so they didn't even allow for the branches to have ATMs until 1995. This is how old school they were and how I don't want to say against, but resistant. I'll say resistant they were to technology. And so, but there was a couple of managers that were really wanting to get into technology. And so they kind of threw them a little bone and said, okay, here, you guys can start up your own little department and, make a go of it. They figured they didn't really have a whole lot of confidence in it. They thought it would probably not be successful. Well, we surprised them because we ended up being extremely successful. But even though we did end up being extremely successful, they did end up eventually shutting us down. But that's another story for another day. We're not going to focus on that. What I want to focus on today is what I ended up doing while I was there with the company, and I experienced a lot of success in doing it. And so what had happened is that we were processing inbound leads that were being generated through online marketing funnels. And we did that. That's how we got our leads for about the first 3 years that I was there. And then, so I saw the power of digital marketing from that perspective. And then I discovered webinar. And I'm sure, if you are a Gen Z, you're probably saying webinars, those have been around forever. That's no big deal or whatever. Well, back then, over 20 years ago, it was a huge deal, okay? Because it wasn't something that was commonly utilized. Most people were still doing the face-to-face, going out door knocking, doing traditional networking, going to events, passing out business cards and things like that. People wasn't really on a mass scale like you see today, utilizing online marketing strategies. So it was a new thing, and it was different. It was thinking outside of the box. And I started reaching out. Well, first I had to get permission to be able to utilize the webinar technology, because just like today, although today you got a lot of companies to choose from, back then you didn't really have very many companies to choose from. There was only a few in that space at that time, and it was kind of expensive, and you could only have a small number of people on your webinar, as you were doing it. So I think maybe we were limited to around 50 people or something like that. It wasn't a huge amount of people that you could have on a webinar. So I got the approval to be able to do it, and I thought, why don't I see if I can get as a guest speaker on my webinar trainings one of the senior regional vice presidents to add even more credibility. And so I was able to do that. He was thrilled when I called him up and I asked him if he would mind coming on to one of my webinar trainings as a guest speaker, and so that my brokers, because I was an account exec / loan officer, so that my brokers and their loan officers would have an opportunity to maybe ask, questions that wasn't in my purview that they always wanted to be able to ask. So he was absolutely thrilled. I think we did it several times, and it was a great time. It was a very exciting time. And as a result, I ended up closing 176 loans that year, totaling over $46 million. And here is the plaque that I got. I still have it, all these years later, 22 years later, and I still have this. I was very proud and very surprised when I got this, because in his true fashion, this particular VP, whenever we would have our award ceremonies and he would give out awards, he would always start, before he would give the award to the recipient, he would always start with telling a story about that person, and of an interaction that he had with that person. And so I wasn't expecting or thinking I was going to get an award. And so when he started telling the story about me and doing marketing online through webinar, at first I didn't realize he was even talking about me. And then I realized as he, got into the story that he was talking about me. And so I was really shocked. I was really surprised. And we're really excited. It was a happy time. And this award that I got, they actually created, they created this because of me. So it became known as the Innovator of the Year award. That's what it was. Never mind, my broke now. I need to go get my nails done. But anyways, yeah, so they created this award category because of me. And I don't know why this freaking thing is doing this again, but it is. So anyways, that's how that came about, is because I was the first person in my company that I worked for at the time that started using online marketing strategy webinar to promote and to get business from mortgage brokers and their loan officers all over the country. That's how I did it, folks. So, you can do the same exact thing. It's not hard, and it's actually even easier now than it was back then, because there are tons of companies out there. Most people know Zoom. Zoom was all the rage, especially during COVID and stuff, where you had a lot of people working remotely. So Zoom is very good. You could do Zoom. There's other platforms as well that you can utilize to do live stream webinars. Really, what I was doing was more of a live stream, although it was called a webinar, but it was more of a live stream. But you can do a live stream, you can do pre-recorded or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's up to you, however you want to do it. And so, to me, I think videos, I know with videos, it's one of the best ways and quickest ways to promote whatever product or service that you're selling, because it can help you build trust extremely quickly. It definitely beats cold calling. I've done cold calling before. It's not fun. When you're doing cold calling, you have to go through a lot of no's before you finally get to a yes. And cold calling on the phone is one thing, but I'm telling you, cold calling in person is on a whole nother level. You really have to have a lot of confidence to cold call in person, and I've done it. So, but you can make it fun. Webinars, they also help you build and create authority. And if you don't have, or you feel like you're not strong in that area, it allows you to be able to collaborate with someone who maybe has more experience than you do, or maybe not necessarily more experience, but they have a bigger audience or a bigger reach than you. So that's where you can do collaborations. And so that's where you see more of a pod style, where they are interviewing the person. And so you can do that as well, where you bring somebody on and you're interviewing them, and maybe even allow your audience to call in, or you have your live chat or something like that, to where you can address their questions right then and there on the spot, or your guest can address, maybe they have a question for your guest, and your guest can address their question as well. That's how I utilize an online marketing strategy with webinars that has been around for over 20 years. Yeah, that's how long they've been around, for over 20 years. And just think about this, folks. I did all of that before Facebook, before Instagram, before YouTube, before any of that stuff. Okay. So, technology is great. AI is great, but don't discredit or dismiss or overlook the old school ways, because, they're still effective too. And you can have, not everybody wants to do an online business. So you can have an offline business, but still utilize some online strategies to market that business, as well as offline strategies. And I'll give you guys, before I let you guys go, I'll give you guys one more example. So for those of you who don't know, my husband and I, we love toy poodles. We have 4 of them. And a couple of years ago, we decided to let them, breed. And so, of course, they started breeding, as dogs will do. And so now, for the last 2 years, we've been selling toy poodles. And they have a little Facebook page and a little Instagram page, although I don't really post a whole lot on their Instagram page. And then I also, I've posted some videos of them on my YouTube channel, which I said I'm gonna focus on their own separate YouTube channel, but it's a lot. But anyways, and then I'm also in some Toy Poodle Facebook groups and stuff like that. But my husband, about a year ago, about a year, maybe a little bit longer, he got this idea of, hey, why don't I get a big piece of wood, a plywood, and make a sign? And because we live on a semi-busy street. And so he just wrote it out, with a black marker or whatever. It looked kind of tacky, but, hey. He said, let's just try it out. Stuck it out there in the front yard. We started getting calls. So then it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should look into getting a professional sign done. And so that's what I did, and it costs about $800. But I tell you what, it's already paid itself back and then some. We have sold a couple of puppies from my online marketing efforts and word of mouth. Word of mouth is not dead. Don't overlook word of mouth and referrals. We've gotten referrals from our groomer that we take our dogs to. We've gotten a couple of calls from our vet has given people our information. But by and large, most of our puppy sales have been as a result of our offline marketing strategy, which is our road sign. And when we have an actual litter, I will take a white washable marker and I'll write on the windows of our vehicles that we have, toy puppies for sale. And so as we're driving around going about our day, people will call off of that as well. But our sign, I would say, has been the most effective. So, there's more than one way to scale a fish, and I don't want to say skin a cat, but I'll say scale a fish. And you can do a mixture of both online and offline. So if you're not real big on social media or whatever, then you don't have to necessarily market online. I would highly encourage you to at least create an online presence. But there are still some old school strategies that are still effective. Excuse me. Now it's your turn. If you're tired of your 9 to 5 and maybe you like your job, that's fine. But you want to have other sources of income, then hey, I've got the blueprint, the exact blueprint that's going to help you brand and monetize your skills and your knowledge that you already have inside of you. So if you're looking to do that, download my free checklist. It's in my bio. Link is in my bio. And let's get started today with building your $10,000 a month personal brand. All right, folks. Take care until the next video.